You are?
I am Deacon Marek Simon.
Deacon Marek. So I think the first thing we do, Father Matthew,
we start with a prayer.
we start with a prayer.
In the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit. Amen. O Christ, our God, you came among your disciples and gave them peace. So also come among us and give us peace, give us calmness in our soul, that we may trust your will in all things, and that we may glorify your name in all things. For you are holy, always, now, and ever, and unto ages of ages. Amen.
Amen. All right, Deacon Marek, if you don't mind, we're going to do a couple of updates. Assuming I know I have a couple updates. I don't know if you have a couple.
I got a couple.
Okay,
go ahead. You first.
You want me to go first? Okay.
Yeah.
I'm about to send out an email similar to the one I sent out on Thursday that's got something going on for tonight, for Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. We have a lot of virtual events happening. All of those events are free. And if you want to keep up with our email list and see what's happening, go to missionsandevangelism.com and subscribe so you can get our emails as we're developing more and more online resources during this time where so many people are staying home. But just for the more immediate event tonight, we're doing Ask Abuna Quarantined Edition, just like we did last Thursday. So that'll be tonight at 8:30 p.m. Eastern. And our Abunas are Father Michael Nasser, Father George Kevorkian, and Father John Ryman. So I will be moderating for them. And for two of them, I think it's their first time that they'll be seen on Facebook. So that'll be quite interesting. So that's the more immediate. And then we have a bunch happening, like I said, next week. That email's going out this afternoon with details. So if you want to get that email, go to missionsandevangelism.com so you can see all of the different digital resources and events we're working on. That's it for me, Father Matthew.
All right. Well, as many people know, I'm the administrative coordinator for Project Mexico. So here's our weekly Project Mexico update. As of right now, we are not canceling any trips in the summer. We're just going to wait and see how long this COVID-19 thing goes on. Because home building is such a huge part of our organization, we want to wait as long as possible. But while everybody is stuck at home, we figure you might have some honey-do lists that you need to get done, such as maybe painting the house. And for those of you, especially in the southern part of the nation who have houses made with stucco, we are starting to sell our paint product that we use on the houses that we build down in Mexico. And so if there are churches or volunteers who are painting their shed or their home, and you're going to go buy a lime-based paint product at Home Depot to paint your building, your stucco building, give us a call and we will be happy to sell our product to you. And that is one way that people can help support the St. Innocent Orphanage in the midst of an economic crisis. So that's actually really big news that we're working on, and we're launching this week is our paint product. And it's one thing to ask for donations over and over and over again. Of course, we love for people to donate and go sign up and be a faithful friend and give us money every month. That's the best way to support the orphanage. But if you got to paint anyway, you might as well buy the paint that supports a good cause. So that's our really big news of the week.
And I don't think you can overemphasize that buying the paint really helps out the orphanage.
Oh my goodness, tremendously. Now, the paint is not made by the boys at the orphanage. I want that to be clear. Okay, it's made by staff who are adults, and we actually delivered our first batch of paint to Father Turbo in Kansas City last week. 700 gallons of paint were delivered to his parish.
So Father Turbo Qualls in Kansas City?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
What color did he get?
Friend of the show. I don't know what color he got. I'll follow up and
you guys offer
ask.
colors. So we should make sure people don't think they just have to go with like pale gray.
No, there are 6 different colors, and they're all available. If anybody has seen the pictures of the houses that we build, those are the colors that are available. It's white, yellow, I believe blue, red, maybe an orange. I think ash is one of them. It's not black, it's ash. So yeah, there's a variety of colors for someone's house, or Deacon Merrick, for your wife's she shed.
Okay, Deacon Merrick, off the top of your head, which color would you pick? Deacon Merrick, which color would you pick?
I mean, yellow, without question.
I'm feeling the yellow. Like, I'm an orange kind of guy, but in terms of like painting a house, orange kind of can get intense.
Yeah.
I'm also from Tennessee, and so I might get like, sacrificed for not holding up the Tennessee Volunteers, but orange can get really intense. I love it, but okay.
The green actually is really nice.
You like the
really
green?
Nice. So,
is that your favorite?
Yeah, that's my favorite color. Of those paints that we offer, the green is my favorite. Orange would be my wife's for sure.
Oh.
But the paint is for stucco and brick surfaces. And at the moment, it's not for interior paint, but we're working on that too. So give us a call and place an order, and it'll be a big support for the orphanage.
All right. Okay, I think we're ready to get started with our guest and our topic. Deacon Merrick, do you mind introducing yourself?
Not at all. Deacon Marek Simon. I recently, or I guess not so recently, about 6 months ago, I started as the Executive Director of Orthodox Christian Fellowship, OCF, and campus ministry, college ministry. And I've been at it for about 6 months, actually just over 6 months now. My family and I relocated. We currently live about a few miles from where Deacon Adam lives, down here south of Nashville. And yes, what else would you like to know?
What were you doing before that? I think people might be surprised to where have you spent, what is it, like the last 10 years? 15, somewhere?
Well, most of you who do know me probably know me from my time at Antiochian Village. I previously spent the last 17 years working as the assistant camp director for the summer camp program at the village. Worked initially under Father Michael Nasser and then under Father Anthony Yaji. And some great years and wonderful people and amazing ministry that I was blessed to be a part of.
And I'm assuming we could start with, why did you accept this position with OCF?
I think it's kind of a twofold response, if I'm being completely honest. One is because in probably about the last 5 or 6 years of my sort of tenure at the village, my role sort of evolved into being more involved, at least in the summertime, with staff mentoring. And as you can imagine, most of our staff are college students. And one of the things I recognized during that was that, one, I love spending time with them, either one-on-one or in small groups or in even large groups. We had a staff of 60 plus. But I found that I was like, my passion and was working with them and helping to mentor them and just talk with them about, summer camp specifically, or life, or things that they were going through. And what one of the conclusions I made on my own, as well as just in conversations with others, is that in the lives of these college students, there's a lot that's lacking in terms of faith formation and mentorship and just formation in general. And I think, anyone that has a pulse on statistics can go and look up and see that. So I won't dive into the weeds, but young people in college are thirsting, and we've got to do a better job of feeding them. So I was driven, one, out of just my own passion for enjoying and liking that type of work, but also seeing seeing a need that, God willing, can be addressed moving forward through OCF's efforts.
Father Matthew, do you have a question?
So how is OCF trying to address what's lacking in the formation? Both, you said faith and other. So how is OCF, or what's your plan for kind of helping with that?
It's a great question. It's funny because I spent probably the first 90 days, 3 months, really just absorbing as much as I could, and about OCF, about our efforts currently, our efforts previously. And I think that if in kind of looking forward, I spent a lot of time. We had a staff retreat in January as well. And I think there's a few different levels to kind of how we move forward. And I think the first and foremost is, I would just say bluntly, we have to be able to reach students. And currently, I I truly believe in transparency. So I say this with regret, but nevertheless, it's a fact. Um, we only have about maybe just over 2,000 students in our database. Um, we've run sort of different statistics and things, but there's probably somewhere between 30 and 50,000 Orthodox college students. So you can just see how tiny of a piece of a pie we're even able to communicate with, and that's something that has to change. And we're in the process. We're actually in the midst of implementing a CRM, something that OCF's never had. And we're working on a plan to gather student contact information so that we can communicate with them from a national level, but even probably more importantly, on local levels where there are OCF gatherings, where there are churches who care about college students and want to offer them rides to church or meals for an OCF meeting. And so for me, that's the first step. Is we've got to be able to reach more students, but how are we going to reach them? What are we going to reach? How are we going to reach out to them? And I think we have to engage them. Just to say, hey, we're OCF, you should go to an OCF meeting, isn't going to do it. We have to be able to engage them with relevant conversations, relevant information, relevant ministry in a way that that hasn't really been done, and I don't think we see a lot of it. But where you do see seeds of that, you see that people pay attention, and I think that that kind of on the local level, which would kind of be the next step, is we've got to strengthen what happens locally. There's some really great OCF groups at various colleges, and there's frankly a lot that are struggling and have either small numbers of students or they have inconsistency, and we've got to support them as a national effort. And we've one of our staff I'm working with is we're coming up with sort of a pilot model that would help equip advisors that work with OCF, clergy advisors, lay advisors, and we're looking at some different models of how we would do that. We're even talking about there's another organization out there that's not Orthodox that does a really good job of this, and they actually have certification. But we're hoping to engage in conversation with them to understand kind of their process. We have a lot to do because really, where OCF can be most impactful is on college campuses. And right now for OCF, if you look back at our history, there's been some really great things that happen at certain universities, but it's been hit or miss. And we've got to strive to be more consistent and put together a ministry moving forward that's going to be relevant, and that, John or Susie at whatever university are going to be like, wow, like I'm going to OCF this week. It's not it's not even an option. But we've got to create that, and we've got to create that on a local level. But we also have to supplement it nationally. There is interest, and we've seen fruits of social media efforts, blogs, podcasts, videos, things like that. But there again, that hasn't been consistent, and that's something that we want to change moving forward. We need to be a consistent presence in a way that students will be like, look forward to hearing from OCF, not just an announcement about a retreat or a college conference, but something that will engage them and something that will get them thinking about their lives and how they want to live it, and how, and their faith, and how they want to be a part of that, or even to struggle with some of the questions that go along with faith that a lot of us think about or do think about, and especially young people. We have to be willing to engage them in those conversations in a lot of ways, and I think you guys know what I mean by that. So I'll stop there. I talked a while.
Well, what I'm curious about, we're covering all sorts of stuff. I think what would be good actually and helpful for a lot of people, because this was helpful for me when we talked about this early on, is the name. This is a campus ministry, but it's not Orthodox Campus Fellowship. It's not Orthodox College Fellowship. It's Orthodox Christian Fellowship. So can you? I think that might give some insight into who the organization is and what you guys are really trying to do.
Well, are you speaking specifically about fellowship?
No, in terms of Christian, it can at first glance come across like it's a generic name.
Yes,
but I know there was intention. There was an intention behind the name.
Yes. Well, what I would say about that is that we've been blessed over 20 years ago, which was, I think, then SCOBA at the time, gave a blessing for the jurisdictional ministries that were geared towards college students to come together as an Orthodox church, one ministry effort in this country, rather than the Antiochian Archdiocese having a campus ministry effort and a campus ministry budget, and the Greek Archdiocese the same thing, and the OCA and the Ukrainian and the Carpatho-Russian. They said, let's bring our efforts together. And this was largely guided by three clergy at the time who went to the bishops. And since then, there's definitely other agencies within the what is now the Assembly of Bishops that do ministry. However, in terms of bringing together jurisdictions for a direct ministry effort in this way, it really excites me. And that's one of the things that excites me when I've gone to college conferences in the past, or our Summer Leadership Institute last fall, is to see how much orthodoxy matters to them, and not Greek Orthodoxy or Antiochian Orthodoxy, or like in their relationships with each other, they recognize that, yeah, I go to St. George Antiochian Church, but this person next to me who's Greek, and the person next to them that's Serbian, and the person next to them that's Russian, like, we're one and we're the same, and we can worship together, and we want to, and we hold the same faith. And they see that as not just the future of Orthodoxy in this country, but the present. For them, it's a reality now, because they want to be with other Orthodox, and those lines of jurisdictions aren't as significant to them as they might be otherwise.
Yeah, I think to mirror what you're saying, we really had a necessity, because of the small population percentage that we have represent as Orthodox Christians and on campuses. We really needed our jurisdictions to come together for this campus ministry, because if we all try to do our own thing, we're really going to barely minister to these. And even with where you are at 2,000, in your database, I know we're all supportive in seeing that number grow and see OCF live out its potential in campus ministry.
Thank you. Yes, we have a lot of work to do, I'll be honest, but it's work that needs to be done, and it's work that we're excited to do. And and I'm excited about possibilities and opportunities. I keep having to tell our staff, like, please make sure that I'm patient, because I tend to want to do everything at once. But we do have hope. And we've even talked about that as a theme for the year. We want to build hope this year, because we know the future can be much better than as we look forward to basically having our ministry efforts allowing God to produce fruits from our ministry efforts is something that's, to me, is we have to work hard at that, and we have to be committed to that. We have to do it with passion, and we have to do it with love and the love of Christ in our work.
Well, the good news is I've talked with quite a few people, and 100% across the board, they were positive conversations on both sides, from me initiating and letting people know the good news that OCF has hired an executive director with Deacon Marek. And I think you've got a lot of people cheering you on, a lot of people supportive. They want to see you succeed, in this role. They want to see OCF minister to our college students. So the good news is you've got a lot of prayers right now for you.
Thank you. Please continue with them.
Yeah. Father Matthew, do you have anything?
I have a question. Yeah.
Yes.
College students like to eat. And when they get together, they like to eat when they're together. So my question is a Bible trivia question. How many loaves of bread were used when Jesus fed the 5,000?
Well, it's funny you said that, because I was listening to a podcast this morning, and on, I think it was Matthew 16, when he was talking to the disciples, and he's like, didn't you learn, like, from the 5 loaves and the 5,000, and then the other example as well. But yeah, and I think one of the things that I appreciate about OCF, even coming into the position, was the pillars of which, recognizing that that we have to find balance in everything that we do, whether we're talking about life in general or specifically with our faith. But we can't just be a church that worships all the time. We can't be a church that just has fellowship all the time. We can't be a church that just goes and does service projects all the time. All of those are important, and they need to be done together, because that's my spiritual father growing up used to always talk about orthopraxia, and we have to practice our faith and live our faith, and that extends to when we're inside the 4 walls of the church, when we're at work every day, when we're in our room with the door closed saying our prayers, when we're in fellowship with others, whether they're Christian or non-Christian or Orthodox or non-believers, that our whole life needs to exemplify what Christ taught us.
All right, I'm gonna put you on the spot
again.
Oh, well, go ahead, Deacon Adam. Go ahead.
No. I've got a Bible trivia question for you, Father Matthew.
Okay. All right.
Okay. So we do this, Deacon Marek. We do random pauses for Bible trivia.
Okay.
So you get to breathe for a minute.
All right. I'm gonna plug in my computer while you.
Okay, you plug it in while I ask Father Matthew. Name the 2 books of the Bible that start with the letter D.
Ooh, Daniel and Deuteronomy.
Yeah.
Whew. All right.
It's amazing how much that makes me sweat. When you ask me something, I know the answer, and I'm like, I'm going to get this wrong. What's the first book of the Bible? Revelations.
Yeah. The table, the introduction.
Yeah, table of contents.
Yeah. All right. Oh, he's back.
He's back.
Like
you're all plugged in. So I think it's time to wrap up. Or do you have one more question?
I've got one more question. I'm going to put you on the spot just a little bit.
Yes.
Okay. So in this time of quarantining, obviously OCF meetings can't occur in person. So are you guys doing anything online, having online get-togethers, streaming chats, Ask Abuna sessions, something. What are you offering right now for the college students who are stuck in their dorm room or stuck in their parents' house?
Well, if you're a college student listening, I would implore you not to be at Ask Abuna tonight because OCF is having a virtual meeting at 9 p.m. Maybe you can attend the first half hour of OCF or of Ask Abuna. In
Sure.
fact, last Thursday, Father Michael Nasser was our presenter, and tonight we have Steve Christoforou. Next Thursday, we have Michelle Majias, and then we have Father Stephen Vernack the following Thursday. But each Thursday night at 9 p.m. Eastern, we're having a virtual OCF meeting on one of Father Tom Hopko's 55 Maxims of Christian Living.
Nice.
And I was excited last week because we had over 100 students in attendance. My hope is that it'll be even more this week. But so that's one item we're doing. We're also offering a Sunday night Zoom where anyone can call in and be a part of it. And it's the small compline with the Akathist of Thanksgiving that's being led by students. And then in addition to that, we have some of our student leadership board has really stepped up during this time. And if you follow us on Instagram, you've probably seen this. If you don't, you should follow us on Instagram. But they're posting really cool short videos on Lenten recipes that you can make at home. The one that went up yesterday, I think, was like a portobello pepper, red pepper melt. That I was looking at, I'm like, wow, this looks really good, and they've done a really wonderful job with that. So things like that have been we've kind of pivoted. We realized we had to pivot. We had to cancel regional retreats, district retreats. We canceled our last Real Break trip, which was going to Project Mexico, unfortunately. And so we're in the midst of still evaluating, how we pivot, but we know that just because college students aren't on campuses, we can't stop engaging them.
Yeah.
So how can somebody get the info to join this? Can they go to your website and find it?
Yes, you can go to our website, and there's a link on our homepage to what's called OCF at Home. You could also follow us on Facebook. All the events are posted there, and as well as our staff and our students are doing a really concerted effort to keep people updated on Instagram, since a lot of college students, that's where they get a lot of their information, and that's where they're connected the most. So we're trying to spread it across multiple platforms. There's even been some blog posts, which we typically will, which goes up on our website, but we tend to forward them on social media as well.
And what's your website? Give a plug.
Sure, www.ocf.net.
Yeah, I shared it in the comment section.
Okay.
I didn't tell you
All
that
right.
I did that. Sorry about that.
Because I just looked up OCF.com and it doesn't get you there. So it's
It's
OCF.net.
OCF.net. Yeah, and
All
it's in the
right.
comment section. If you're
Nothing but
watching,
net.
you can see that there.
All right.
Okay.
That's great. Well, Deacon Marek, keep up the good work.
Thank you. Thank you guys for inviting me, and I appreciate it, and I hope God continues to bless your ministries.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
See you guys later.
Bye-bye.